This afternoon, jurors watched a series of graphic images from Freak-off sex parties involving Diddy and Cassie.
According to Cassie, she was embarrassed by it. She even talked about, what would I tell my mom if something like this got out?
That video changes everything, because the argument would be, what do you think happens if she says no?
Yeah.
What do you think happens if she says, I'm not in the mood for a freak-off tonight. I'm not gonna pay the dancer. That's what's gonna happen. That video is arguably the most important piece of evidence because it sets the stage when we're talking about coercion or force.
Diddy's family arrived at court early, standing firm in support. His twin daughters, Jessie and D'Lila, walked in with their heads down, saying almost nothing. His mother, Janice, and sons, King and Justin, were also present, none of them smiling. It was a quiet but telling scene, hinting at the weight of what was about to unfold. Behind the stiff appearances was an undeniable tension, and once inside, things quickly escalated.
We need you to step to the side. Step to the side, please.
Look, Paul. Yes, Mildy. Are you guys feeling? How do you feel today?
Step to the side, please.
Watch out, watch out. Watch your butt.
Big, great. How can you walk it today? Congratulations at NYU check. Give us a little space. Give us a little space. Give us a little space. Yes. If I don't conduct.
Hey, man, Sean, man, be good, bro.
Okay.
Tell you.
Cassie Ventura, Diddy's longtime ex-girlfriend, began her testimony with disturbing claims. She told the court Diddy threatened to leak what she called freak-off videos, explicit recordings involving her and others, if she didn't comply with his demands. According to Cassie, those threats were used to control her. Prosecutors are using this testimony to establish coercion, which is central to the trafficking charges. While Cassie didn't directly quote Diddy making that threat, the implication was chilling.
That's what makes him unique, though.
Sure, but is that what he's doing? Is he running an entertainment and fashion industry, or is he running essentially a criminal organization?
By the way, we have a poll up right now. You can participate in it. Do you think Cassie Ventura was a victim or partner in this? Ready for this? 82%, well, this doesn't make sense. 82% say yes. I don't know if that's yes to, I think we need clarification. 82% say victim or partner. We'll get a clarification on that.
By the way,
right now.
But that's my answer to that question.
Oh,
Was
okay.
she a victim or a
82%
partner?
say victim. 82% say victim. Maybe based on we're reporting on the testimony right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think she is a victim if the allegations are true, but also she is involved in some of the criminal act. I mean, she's getting those prostitutes, right? She's making payments to them, allegedly. She's having them come. So she's involved in some of the alleged criminal activity. And that's an interesting point that wouldn't just apply to her. Other people in his orbit might be some combination of victim and co-conspirator.
But you know what? That video changes everything, because the argument would be, what do you think happens if she says no?
Yeah.
What do you think happens if she says, I'm not in the mood for a freak-off tonight. I'm not gonna pay the dancer. That's what's gonna happen. That video is arguably the most important piece of evidence because it sets the stage when we're talking about coercion or force.
The courtroom listened closely as Cassie explained how fear kept her silent. But she never said Diddy explicitly told her, do this or I'll leak the video. That lack of direct connection could become a major challenge for prosecutors. It's a legal gray area. Jurors are now left to interpret whether implied fear counts as coercion or whether they need concrete proof.
Just now, an update from court. Prosecutor asked Cassie Ventura, how would he keep tabs on you? To which she apparently responds, he didn't live far apart. We didn't live far apart. He'd send security to come find me or a trusted assistant. Like who? David James, Christina Coram, who we all know has been a central figure in this case. Maybe not the criminal case, but she's come up in lawsuits before. The prosecutor asks her, was your relationship exclusive? Ventura replies, no. If she's naming names like David James or Christina Coram, do they have to testify, you think?
I don't think they have to testify, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I would think this is all planned out, that she's going to indicate some people and then the prosecution is going to bring them in later in the trial to verify, right? One thing you really want to do with a witness like this, the defense is going to say that she's embellishing. They might say she's lying, but that's going to be a little hard to do with that video, right? They can't just say she's a liar. But they're going to say she's exaggerating, she's embellishing, they're painting it a certain way because of the case. So you have to bring in these corroborating witnesses and whatever other corroborating evidence you have to verify what it is she's saying. So it would be very useful, for example, if she says, yes, David James came around to check on me on behalf of Mr. Combs, and then David James takes the stand and says, yes, I did that.
Yeah.
That would be helpful.
Things turned more graphic as Cassie detailed disturbing acts she claims happened during these so-called freak-offs. At one point, she says Diddy, or someone acting on his orders, urinated on her. When asked if she consented, Cassie said it was disgusting and that she clearly didn't want it. But when pressed on whether she ever said no, she admitted she didn't say it outright. This opens the door for the defense to argue a lack of force or clear objection, something they're likely to exploit.
I can tell you that immediately, the moment she opened her mouth, you could see that Combs was listening intently to everything that she has to say, as well as those jurors. People know that she was that star witness, the key person in all of this. When you think about that civil suit that came out in 2023, that was settled the day after. She really is the person that connects all the dots. When you look at the indictment and you look at some of the charges, she's the one talking about the freak-offs and what was involved and how she had to act. The prosecution is asking her questions to show that she wasn't in control. She said that Sean Combs directed everything from what she had on to the lighting in the room to how she was supposed to interact with the person that she was having with. And again, just to reiterate what is a freak-off, the freak-off essentially was something that Cassie said she learned about through Sean Combs about a year into their relationship. He described it as voyeurism, wanting to watch her have sex with someone else. And she said that she did it because she was 22, 21, she was young, she didn't know any better, and that she wanted to please Sean Combs.
And at some point in time, she actually had said that she looked forward to the freak-offs. Why did Cassie express looking forward to these said freak-offs?
When the prosecution asked her, was there ever a time that you enjoyed the freak-offs? This is when Cassie got choked up and she said, I did, but only because I got to spend one-on-one time with Combs, and I really did love him.
And that is speaking to the psychological abuse in addition to the physical abuse that she potentially experienced as well.
She's definitely laying out someone who was young, who was influenced by wanting to have this record career. She signed a 10-album deal with Bad Boy Entertainment led by Sean Combs, and basically describes being enamored by Sean Combs, loving him, not knowing about certain things actually, and him sort of telling her, teaching her about that. And what you hear is someone that was young and she even said, I was young, I was naive, I didn't know any better.
Cassie then turned to physical abuse, describing incidents where Diddy allegedly beat her badly enough that she had to hide in a hotel for days. One key event, the 2016 incident at the Intercontinental Hotel, was brought up again. According to Cassie, she tried to leave a freak-off early. Diddy, enraged, allegedly hit her, then threw her to the ground near an elevator. That moment, already captured in a viral video years ago, gained new context and new weight in court today.
The 38-year-old singer said to get emotional on the stand as the prosecution brought up this disturbing security footage CNN uncovered of Diddy beating Cassie in a hotel.
Many people have seen that 2016 video of Sean Combs assaulting his then girlfriend, Cassie Ventura. And the defense said, listen, what you witnessed was wrong, it was inhumane, it was horrible, but that was domestic violence, and they said that is not criminal enterprise, that is not rap. But both sides sort of making those compelling arguments and opening statements that for the prosecution, that he is guilty, for the defense obviously saying that he's not guilty of these crimes that he's alleged to have committed.
Then came a chilling turn. Cassie's testimony drew direct comparisons to the late Kim Porter, Diddy's former partner and the mother of 3 of his children. Porter reportedly planned to expose Diddy's secrets shortly before her sudden and controversial death. Her name was mentioned in court, and the parallels between the 2 women, both close to Diddy, both allegedly victims, sent a wave through the courtroom. The suggestion? This may not be an isolated pattern.
There was a guy called John Paperwork, the Paperwork Party. They would put in an open petition to get Kim's case reopened. You understand what I'm saying? So I'll be sure doing this is showing that, he still got love for Quincy's mother. He still want to find out the truth because allegedly Kim was found the day before and the day of her death. And then now she found in the bed, dead from pneumonia. That just don't sound right, bro. That don't sound right at all.
So you feel the same way about her death being suspect?
I don't think nobody in America think it's nothing suspicious about Kim's death, bro. If you are rich like that, you could, Kim had, I think a net worth of like, what, 12 million a year or something like that? Kim could have called any doctor to come over and look at her. If she was that bad, she could have called an ambulance or something like that. Everything is suspicious about her death, bro. And I don't think an autopsy was done on her. And if it was a half job.
You personally, right? What do you think happened to Kim Porter?
If I say something personal, bro, and my belief, and I put it on to the public, then I might be liable.
Prosecutors now want to show one of the Freak-0ff videos to the jury, potentially devastating visual evidence. But Diddy's legal team is pushing back hard. They don't want the media or public to see it, and even the judge hasn't ruled yet on whether it can be shown. No one knows what exactly is on the video or if it shows any form of coercion. But if it's admitted into evidence, it could shift the jury's entire perception of the case.
How were these freak-offs orchestrated?
So Cassie kind of walked the jury through what her role was in the freak-offs and how she said that Combs had choreographed them. He was the director in charge. And what she described was that these freak-offs lasted from 36 to 72 hours. The longest one, she said, lasted 4 days. And through that period, she said her role had evolved from initially Combs setting up the first one to then it becoming essentially her job. These freak-offs, she said, were occurring weekly. And what she was responsible for was finding these escorts, using Craigslist, some of these other escort services, helping them travel to certain locations from Miami to Ibiza, to New York, to LA, to Las Vegas. And that she worked with Combs's business travel people in order to move people around, saying that they would project that they were potential employers and getting them to move. But she said that he had everything to do with what she was wearing. She said she would buy outfits from sex shops and see which one he wanted her to wear. And then inside the actual hotel rooms, their apartments where the freak-offs took place, she said that Combs was in charge of lighting. It began with candles. It then moved to studio lighting, that he was directing how they moved from each action of each sexual act in these freak-offs, and even the amount of baby oil that they were wearing. She said that he wanted them to be glistening, and so he would often encourage them to put on more baby oil.
Prosecutors landed major punches today, but the case isn't airtight. Cassie's words painted a terrifying picture, but there are still gaps the defense will exploit. Now, it's up to the jury to decide. Did Diddy weaponize fear and power to control women behind closed doors? Or will the lack of direct evidence raise just enough doubt? One thing's for sure, this trial is far from over, and what happens next could reshape Diddy's legacy forever.